Hello and welcome to this pattern recognition video for experts. So today I'm going to do 5 puzzles as usual, and pause the video at any time if you need to think longer. Alright, let's see what is happening in this first puzzle. And for those of you new to this, if the video is too hard, or even too easy, feel free to leave comments. I try to do beginner video one day, then the following day intermediate, then expert, beginner, intermediate, advanced, then expert. In the future I plan to do some master level puzzles if these are too easy for you. Okay, what do we have going on? It looks like black is behind here, down by a queen versus a bishop. Our opponent has 3 extra pawns. This one is about ready to promote, so black needs to do something in a hurry here. Well, we see the rook on the open file, so maybe we can threaten a mate by going here, which would protect the rook. But what counterplay does our opponent have? Once we go bishop here to f3, threatening mate in one more move, the only thing our opponent can do is maybe check. Yeah, I think that's it. But then we can just capture with the pawn, not with the king, or our opponent will promote with a check. So threaten the mate. And we don't want to take with the king. We want to capture with that pawn, because now that they promoted, they don't have time. If we would have taken with the king, they would have promoted with check. So we can just deliver the mate. All right, I hope you found that one. It was rated 2080. So on to problem number 2 here. Okay, we just had a capture. Now what? That dangerous passed pawn here. If that bishop moves out of the way. What does the white have? And if we count up material, you probably want to do that first. So 5 pawns versus, 6 pawns. I need to learn how to count here. 6 versus 5. They have the bishop pair. We only have 1 bishop. All right, so what can white do? We do have a dangerous passed pawn ourselves. So, and if we look at checks, captures, and threats in that order, checks first. The only check we have is what, this rook. So if we check, if the king moves, we could pick off the rook. Or do we have something better? So let's take a look at this. Check. King is forced to move here. Then what? Do we push the pawn and promote? If we promote, the rook could capture. Our queen could capture with a check. The only move would be what? To go here. And then what? Oh, we can skewer the king and queen. So it looks like that works. Check. Promote. Queen captures, and then we grab their queen, because now the king will be forced to move. Then we can just take the queen. And one thing we have to watch out for, though, we grab their queen, they could deliver a check here. If we take, they'll be able to promote. So, we'll be ahead in material, though. We have the extra rook. But, a little bit of play left in the game. All right, that was rated 2030. Let's move on to problem number 3. A pawn is just pushed forward, allowing this bishop to develop, perhaps, attacking our queen, maybe. But it's black's turn. What do we do here? Oh, wow. Interesting little pattern here. We want to look at this rook lined up on the open file, but the bishop's in the way. There's a possible mate in one threat if that bishop wasn't in the way. So where do we move that bishop? If we just drop the bishop back, well, then the pawn could push forward, maybe blocking things. Or this pawn could push forward. So, why don't we pull the, sacrifice the queen? So, pause the video if you need more time to calculate. If not, here we go. We're going to sacrifice the queen, forcing the king to capture. And then we capture this pawn, preventing the king from leaving the h-file, and there's a discovered attack. And the queen would have to block, or the bishop blocks first, and we capture each one of those pieces. So here we go. Queen sacrifice. Capture, capture, and mate. So that was a great pattern. I enjoyed that one. Hopefully you found the answer. Let's move on to puzzle number 4. Okay, a pawn is just pushed forward. Now we have this passed pawn, but it's blockaded by the king. We could step forward, checking, allowing this pawn to start moving up the board. So that's a possibility. But let's look at the material. We have 6 pawns versus 6 and a pair of rooks each. So material is even. But we do have that dangerous passed pawn. So the obvious move, if we look at checks first, is to go here. Usually a king wants to stay in front of the passed pawn. So maybe it steps back. We could keep pushing forward, attacking the rook. But then what? We attack the rook. If the rook moves, it would probably move up, adding pressure to our pawn. Oh, but then we could attack the king again and then push our pawn forward. So looks like that's the best way to go. So this is different. I didn't expect it to go this way. So now if we push that way, continue, and the rook blockades, well, now do we attack the rook? Or do we have something better? Maybe we attack the king. King moves over. Then do we push forward, attacking the rook? If the rook blocks, we can move our other rook up. Wow, so a lot more going on in this game. Probably attack the king with our rook is more forcing. If we go here, the rook could block. I don't know, I think I like this move better. So now we just go there. And here. Probably should just take. Then we grab this. The king could go up here, our rook would have to move and the king picks off our passed pawn, but our extra rook should be able to start mowing down these pawns and win. All right, that was rated 2130. I hope you did well on that one. Once again, I would like to mention that I believe a viewer and his wife, or well, fiance, are getting married. They may have just gotten married or be on the way to getting married and on their honeymoon, because I do these videos ahead of time. So by the time this video comes out, they may already be married or on their honeymoon. So congratulations, outstanding news. All right, the final puzzle, number 5. Let's see here. Bishop just captured. Ours is under attack. Wow, 3 passed pawns. I think we could just capture, and then if their pawns start running, we would have to try to stop that. Okay, this one is, for not having many pieces on the board, it still looks pretty dangerous. I'm thinking maybe we go here to stop these pawns. So maybe that's best. But if we go there, our opponent has time to get into the square of the pawn and stop our passed pawn. So if we take, and this pawn pushes, we go here, the other pawn pushes. Well, now we can just drop back. So we need to push our pawn at some point. I don't know. I'm thinking we take. But now they're in the square of the pawn. All right. If we just push here, king starts moving over. We go here. Wow. You know, this is way more complicated for just having a few pawns and the bishop on the board. Probably need to get our king involved. You know, maybe we go there. Nope. Okay, they don't like that. Do we push our pawn? Okay, why would they go this way? You'd think the king would go up here to stop the pawn. You know, by going up here maybe. Because now we can just promote. Okay, we go here and stop the pawn. All right, I need to look at the analysis on that one because, I don't know, it seemed like the other move would have been better. So bishop takes is the best move. Then king moving up. If we push the pawn, it looks like, well, what if they just go there? Apparently we keep pushing. Oh, well, now we have to go. Oh, wow. Okay, that's a great little pattern. See, we can't even get close to that pawn. Okay. So we had to go here. Or excuse me, let's see. Wow, the bishop is preventing that pawn from, or excuse me, the king from getting over there and helping. Oh, wow. Okay, well, that was a great little pattern. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed that one. All right, well, Feel free to leave comments, requests, whatever. Like and subscribe to support the channel if you haven't already. Thank you for watching and have a super chess day.